Well, I gave it some thought. Let me pull this up in the shade a little bit. Now, the B-12s, they just automatically come with this pulley. That pulley right there. And that pulley goes right there. What's that pulley for? Well, let me tell you. Or rather, let me show you. In this box, which has been sitting for many years, is it's an Allis-Chalmers hydro lift, just been painted up the copper color for my Squire 9. That's one. And I went on a pick. It was the same pick that the bike came from, and picked up this. This is the entire sub-dash tower. The steering column goes through here. And that is another complete hydro right there. Hoses look really rough and ratty, but it's there and it's complete. And then we come to the tote underneath. I've actually had this one for 10 years-ish and have done nothing with it. The only tractor that I've had that I installed a hydro on was the old Landlord. And I don't use it to do anything but take to the shows. It'd be nice to have a hydro mounted to the B-12 so I can raise and lower implements with ease without having to use the strong arm. And there's a bunch of components to them. There's a good guy, Ray, and Ray makes replacement or reproduction brackets that mount to the mount to the bevel gearbox, and there's one of those in here. And I'm not sure. Now, this is the short rock shaft. By short, that end right there, the rock shaft goes in like this. This end, I'm gonna have to take you over there and show you. Okay. There's the rock shaft right there. Okay. On this side, you've got keyways and it's long. Okay. Then you come over to this side and you have the rock shaft sticking out, and it's not quite as long. What this rock shaft does, you see this blunt end right here, that is this blunt end, but it is short. It stops at the frame right in there. So when you take the shift quadrant, the selector quadrant, and your lift arm off and replace that rock shaft, it's as though it looks like factory, looks stock, or dealer installed, what have you. So got the rock shaft. I have two new lines, 1 and 2, that can go on. I have one cylinder. There's my belt. I have 2 more pulleys. This isn't the right one. That is the right one. Okay. I have another cylinder right here, right there. I have one aftermarket. Come here. Made by Ray S. One aftermarket cylinder bracket that goes on the back, and right here is another, because I thought I misplaced it, so I got another one. What the original looks like is right over here, sitting in this mess. It's right there. The original one is a cast iron piece, as you can see. But here's the short shaft here as well. Short rock shaft. And that would be obviously off of a Simplicity, and then this one is off of a Allis-Chalmers. I don't know why there's a ratty looking fuel pump in the bottom of the... That's ugly. I have no idea why that's in there. Or a deck arbor spacer either. Anyway, I think I'm just going to go ahead and install a hydro. So, is it easy? Nah, not particularly. But is it hard? Nah, not particularly. I am going to give these two hoses a chance. Might be a glutton for punishment, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to bench mount the cylinder and the hydro pump, make sure the hydro pump's working, and make sure the cylinder's okay and not leaking all over everywhere. Because if it is, I have another one here and another one over there. So give me just a second. We'll get this over on the workbench, and I'll show you guys how you can test these. Alright, bench testing. I've put the lines on, and it's been stored with these block off caps on where the lines go. So the lines are attached, the cylinder's attached, and I have a long 3/8 belt because that one's too short for what I'm going to do here. But what I'm going to do is take the drill, and I'll pull the drill and try to keep the drill aligned just like this, and run the pump like so, and I will run it faster than that. Sorry, put the belt back on. I'll run it faster than that, but then I'll reach over with my free hand and operate the lever and watch the cylinder. Should extend and retract on its own. If not, there's a little pintle down in here that gets wore out, that causes issues, that can be remade, remanufactured. Well, even all my mounting bolts are there. That's great. Alright, so we're going to test two things. One, cylinder operation. Two, whether those ugly lines are leaking or not. And if they're not, we're just going to send them. Like I say, I do have a set of new ones, and I've had that set for a long time. I just hate to use them. So let me get you clamped in here, and we should already be just about all in screen. Now I'm going to get it going. I don't know if I'll be able to go full speed or not. We will try, and then I'll get the throttle locked on it, and we'll try the hydro lever. Kind of having to do a bunch of different kind of dances here to keep things squared up. All right. Almost had it. Holding that drill still isn't the easiest thing. I don't know if I've got any way to secure the drill to the workbench. Wait a minute, yeah I do. Duh. be right back. Alright, I think I can do it this time. Let me move you a little bit closer. We're going to be watching that cylinder right there. See what we can do. You ready? And go. So there we go. She's a working. Gotta move it back. And I see no leaks. So even though those hoses look terrible, apparently the inner linings are still okay. And everything's moving the way that it should. Let me get this moved back. There we go. So we've got a good hydro. What do you say we throw it in? I'm just going to leave the lines attached, and it's involved. It is definitely involved, but we're going to do it. Hang on. Okay, last time I went this deep, I wound up restoring a tractor. I'm not going to be restoring this one though. Guarantee it. You have to more or less liberate everything. Everything's got to come up and get out of the way. So lift arm has to come off. There's a couple of set screws. Loosen the set screws. Just get a 2-jaw puller. Pull that sucker right off of there. Then you take your shift quadrant, your lift quadrant off of there. You also have to take this bolt out because the lift quadrant, well, you've got to take both these bolts out anyway in order to get that off and to get the rock shaft out. And you have 2 bolts on the other side, and your angle arm that's sticking up right there, that has to come off as well. And once you get everything unbolted, then you also take off your lift rod, which is just traveling right through here to go back to the sleeve hitch. Get everything off of that, and you can put your new one in. And then for your PTO, the way this is set up here is correct for a lift lever, a strong arm, but it is not correct for a hydro. That takes that little guy right there, your pivot point right here, gets look here, gets bolted right there. So you would go from here to here on that. Once that's done and the new rock shaft is sitting in place, then we have to take the dash tower loose, which is 2 bolts here, 1, 2, then 2 bolts over here, 1, 2, 2 more on the other side, and then right down underneath, I can show you on this right here, right underneath the dash, that plate, there's a 1/2 inch nut that you have to take off or take loose right there. When you do that, that will allow you to, you also have to loosen up that 5/32 set screw, move that up. It's easier if you take steering wheel off. You can if you want. When you pull this part up, the gas tank stays stationary. It stays on the subframe for the dash, so you don't need to worry about that. You'll have to pop your wires off and stuff, but everything has to get moved up and out of the way so that you can finagle that hydro in there. And of course I'm going to have to reroute my gas line because I've got it going through the hole that pulley is going to be coming through. And then the way that you tension it up is after the engine is installed and you've got the belt on, you have to come in see if I remember this right. Yeah, you have to actually come in from this side, in between the engine, which isn't very far away from this, and slide the unit this way to tension the belt that's going to be on that pulley. Be that belt right there, that one. And for anybody who's wanting to know, there's your number, 3L200. That is your belt number. Okay, excuse me, 3L220. My bad. Really short guy, but it goes in there. Then once you get the dash lifted up and out of the way, you then have to take off your shifter quadrant, which is just 4 bolts, usually 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then take your lock arm off. It'll just screw out. Take your shift knob off and lift this up and out of there completely, because you have to get to the drive shaft yoke, which is down there. The drive shaft has to come off. Well, no, I take that back. Drive shaft does not have to come off, but you do have to take 2 of the bevel gearbox bolts out in order to mount your cylinder. It's the 2 bottom, is it the 2 bottom bolts or 2 top bolts? I believe it's the 2 bottom bolts. Let's go out here and look at the old landlord. Be able to look in there and see. Pretty sure it's a top, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, you can see the cylinder right there. That's the lift cylinder right there. It's real close. So come over here and look. Lift cylinder is right there, and it is mounted high. So yes, the top 2 bolts of the bevel gearbox. So I put this one in, oh Lord, long time ago, and it's still working fine. Lines are still in good shape, but this is an ugly B-12. It's okay if it's got an ugly hydro lift going in it, but it's gonna get the ugly hydro lift. And then this will be my dedicated snow blower machine in the winter and weed cutter in the grass growing season. So I'm going to get everything up and out of the way, turn the camera back on, show you what your goal is as far as how much you want to get stuff up and out of the way, and then we'll start getting that unit installed. She's fighting me every inch of the way. I think I might name this one Grumpy Bee. You can see the frame rest here. It's flaky and scaly. The pin that went through the rock shaft, the pin that went through it, yep, that fought me. Getting this arm off, it just came right off. That was no problem. Getting these 2 bolts out, they fought me. This bolt here that holds the top of the lift quadrant fought me. There are collars, these collars right here, they have 5/32 Allen heads in them. You can see that one's missing. That one over there I spent 25 minutes on, not wanting to strip it out, because if you strip it out you cannot get the rock shaft out without cutting it in half. Didn't want to do that, wanted to save it. The lever that's on that side, that guy right there, that fought me big time coming off. And the reason this side was so rusty is because of battery acid leaking down. That's one of the keys. That's one of the keys. At any rate, I forget where I left off, but where I'm at now is getting that old rock shaft out, and the collars, the lock collars are rusted onto it, so I'm going to beat on those for a while. It's very near quitting time, so once I get the rock shaft out, throw the new rock shaft in, then I'm probably going to call it a day for today, and we'll pick it back up tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday, and I do have a house call tomorrow, so it'll just be one of those hit and miss days where I work on my own stuff when I can. So anyway, that's it for now. So we're going to call this part 1 of putting the hydro in the Angry B-12. See you when I see you.